Good morning and welcome to the Daily Cyber Briefing for Wednesday, the 5th of February. Take two, false start, wrong microphone. Oh my goodness, anybody would think that. Yes, never mind. Netgear has disclosed two critical flaws impacting multiple Wi-Fi router models and is urging customers to upgrade and address them ASAP. The vulnerabilities are found in models XR1000, XR1000 V2 and XR500s. The fixed firmware version for the XR1000s is 1.0.0.74, for the 1000 V2s is 1.1.0.22, and for the XR500s is 2.3.2.134. So if you are using XR1000, 1000 V2s or XR500s, you know what to do. The other vulnerability they've fixed is in some WAX models, 206, model 206, vulnerabilities fixed in 1.0.5.3, the WAX 220 issues fixed in 1.0.3.5, and the WAX 214v2, the issues fixed in version 1.0.2.5. So obviously don't expect you to remember all those numbers from the broadcast. So broadcast? Goodness, sound like the BBC. Right, yes, don't worry, we will link the article to the briefing and you can check. But if you are using Netgear Wi-Fi equipment, it is worth having a look. Make sure that the version of the firmware that you are running actually is the latest and up to date. I don't know how good Netgear devices are at updating themselves. Gut feeling is they probably aren't brilliant at it, but it is worth having a look. Even if they are capable of auto-updating and are set to auto-update, as we've said before, it is worth periodically having a look and nudging devices if they need to be. Also, if there are major patches or patches to significant vulnerabilities that are coming out, even if it says it's on the right version, it does no harm to periodically reboot the device just to make sure that any leftover stuff running gets cleared out. Also on the subject of Wi-Fi routers and so on and so forth, Zyxel, I never do know how to pronounce this. Zyxel has issued a security advisory regarding actively exploited flaws in its CPE series of devices. Basically, the vulnerabilities included telnet command injection and weak default credentials, so on and so forth. Zyxel's solution to this is replace the device. So if you are running a vulnerable device, they are not going to fix it because, as they say, the devices are end of life. You need to upgrade. Now, I have sympathy with people that look at that as, well, that's pretty poor, isn't it? But the other side of it is, well, by running end of life kit in your environments, you are quite explicitly accepting the risk that vulnerabilities won't be patched. So, risk of repeating myself again, I would suggest that you have a think about the end of life policy that you've got for networking equipment, or any equipment actually inside your organization. But in this case, networking equipment. There are various kinds of end of life. There's end of sale, end of regular engineering, end of this, that, and the other. But the one that really matters, in fact, there are kind of two from a corporate perspective, end ofs that really matter. The first one being end of security patches being made available. It is a slightly grey area because very occasionally manufacturers will go back and patch things. Vendors will patch things in end of life stuff if it appears to be in their best interests, but you can't rely on that. There's no contractual obligation. In fact, they basically announced said they won't do it, but occasionally do, which I suppose is better than saying they will do it and then not doing it. However, if you are running kit which will no longer receive security patches, there is a problem with your policy, unless you have actively been through and assessed the risks and accepted them and put other mitigations in place. I do appreciate there are environments where operational technology kind of environments where changing things out is remarkably difficult, zero downtime environments. But generally those are built with a level of resilience that allows this stuff to go in, but you may find yourself in situations where that just isn't the case, in which case, yeah, that is quite tricky, but you need to build mitigating controls around the vulnerable devices. The other end of that matters, as far as I'm concerned, is the end of hardware maintenance. So if you've got a piece of tin in your environment and the manufacturer or the vendor of that tin will not replace it under a support contract if it blows up, that's a problem, because if it blows up, you're going to have to go and purchase something else, which can take longer than you'd expect. You then have to configure it, test it, blah, blah, blah. So you don't want to get caught out by either of those. But as this is a security podcast, I would suggest that you have a serious think about your policy on end of life equipment, which should be along the lines of no equipment, hardware or software should be used in the organization unless it can have security, unless it is supported for security patches by the vendor. Okay, and then finally from me today, malicious apps in both Google Play and the Apple App Store have been caught stealing crypto wallets, or crypto wallet details. It appears that there's a campaign that is being referred to as SparkCat. I don't know where they come up with this stuff. Spark is one of the malicious SDK components in these infected apps. So SparkCat, all right, fair enough. So a piece of research from Kaspersky on the Google Play Store has demonstrated that, or shown that, over 240,000 downloads. There have been over 240,000 downloads of apps with these malicious components in them. So we're not talking something trivial here. Also, the apps have been found in the iOS App Store. Now, both Google and Apple put a lot of effort into maintaining their app stores as vulnerability free. This particular article says it's the first time that this kind of malicious app has been found in the Apple App Store. I'm not sure whether that's actually true or not. It may be depending on how you define the kind of vulnerability. There is a fairly long list of vulnerable apps. The one that gets called out here is an Android app called Chat AI. which has been downloaded over 50,000 times. That one's gone from Google Play Store. However, do bear in mind that if they remove it from the Play Store, that doesn't then uninstall it from that you may have installed it on. It just means, well, presumably it means it no longer gets updated and it's no longer available to download onto other devices. But if you've got it, it's still there. So be aware of this stuff. It's worth having a little look. There's a link out to the Kaspersky article that lists all the particular apps. What can you do? Well, now you're aware of it, check that you haven't downloaded any of these apps, you're not running any of these apps. And other than that, you do at some point have to trust someone, and at least the major app stores, Play stores, are actively trying to eliminate malware, which isn't necessarily the case for some other stores. And of course, if Apple users, thank you to the bureaucrats in the European Union insisting that Apple supports other people's Play stores, which does very little other than introduce risk, in my clearly not so humble opinion. So if you have added in other app stores to your Apple devices, good luck. That's all from me for today. I hope you have a